This video is a little bit different, so I hope you enjoy it. Cult members don't like hearing that they're in a cult, just like those in an MLM despise the label. So let's talk about it. But first, I'm going to show you a clip, and I want you to see if you can tell if the person is in a cult or if they're in an MLM. An MLM, if you're unaware, stands for multi-level marketing.
Blissfulness and gratitude for this existence and where we are now and where we are going to be and what we are bringing and what we are co-creating in this existence. I think that the biggest aspect that is so important right now is the fact that we are healing the karmic ties and these cycles that do not serve us. As a collective, we are healing. Do not downplay your existence here and the fact that you are doing the work to heal yourself. Because when you heal yourself, you heal the world. When you take the word heart, you take the H at the very beginning of the word heart and put it at the end, it spells earth. When you heal your heart, you heal the earth. Do not downplay your existence. It is so vital for humanity. We are the rainbow warriors, fulfilling this rainbow bridge prophecy by remembering that we are the rainbow bridge.
She's actually in an MLM, and their product is water filtration systems. Some examples of MLMs are Tupperware, Pampered Chef, Avon, Mary Kay, Young Living, Herbalife, and Legal Shield, which used to be called Prepaid Legal Services. And this is how Jody Arias met Travis Alexander. Now let's talk about how an MLM is very similar to a cult. I'm not saying that everyone in an MLM is bad, because that's not the case. However, you do have a lot of shady people out there, and a lot of MLMs do use cult-like tactics. In an MLM, the majority of consultants earn little to no money, so why is it that people still join them despite the evidence that they're unethical? Well, it has to do with the cult-like tactics that they use to recruit and the way that they keep their consultants motivated. They lie to the people that they're recruiting and they mislead them. And if you look at a consultant's social media, it's full of images that make you think they are extremely successful when they aren't. A lot of consultants are actually taught to do this. Some will pretend to own a rented house, or they will take pictures of a Mercedes that isn't even theirs. In one MLM, a top consultant in the company rented a castle so they could keep up the illusion of extraordinary success. They call it faking it until you make it. Unfortunately, millions of people do fall for the lies and the manipulation, so they join the company. Once they're in, they're on the receiving end of a technique that's called love bombing, or it's also called toxic positivity. It's like being welcomed into a family. Everybody is loving, they're upbeat, they're positive, and they make the person feel that they have just gained several new friends, and so they are on an emotional high. And because the new recruit is so ecstatic about the new opportunity, they tell their friends and family, but they're frustrated when their friends and family don't respond or join them in the way that they were hoping. Friends and family will often see a dramatic change. They'll notice on social media the person's posts are now all about the opportunity and the company's products, and when they see them in person, they're constantly just trying to recruit them. They stop being a normal person. They lose friends this way, and their friends and family will often unfollow them on social media. Their upline or the person that recruited them will say that their friends and family, they're just haters and they just don't understand how great this opportunity or group is. They don't want you to change and they're just jealous. So maybe you should stop talking to them because they're just too negative. They're holding you back. Scientology is adamant about their people not looking at or hearing anything critical about the organization. They also have a name for anyone who criticizes or questions them. They're labeled a suppressive person, and you are to no longer have any contact with them. See the similarities?
It's like becoming a mom. You know when you watch your best friend have her first baby and you're like, you have no idea. You have no idea how much you're about to love a human. It's unmatched. It's not like anything else. That is literally this business.
Women are the main targets and will usually become involved because they are promised flexibility, the ability to be at home with their children, or the opportunity to eventually leave their job. Instead, what they get in return are marriages being destroyed by the MLM or the cult. They lose their savings, their money for retirement, or even their homes. A former Tupperware seller named Angela was able to recruit several people into her downline, so she moved up quickly in the company. But things changed immediately when her mother was diagnosed with cancer. She was told that she needed to use her mother's cancer as her sales pitch. They told her that you need to turn it into a party and ask everyone that cares about you and your mother to help you sell Tupperware. And she left the company after that. Rick Allen Ross is a cult deprogrammer, and he's helped deprogram over 500 former cult victims, and MLMs pop up a lot in his line of work. He said that getting someone out of an MLM is the same process as getting someone out of a cult. Here are some examples of how an MLM operates like a cult. They're led by a guru. Every cult has a top person or a group of people who are adored and basically worshipped. They're almost like a celebrity. Everything that person does is viewed as divinely inspired, and they can do no wrong. They promise the secrets to success. MLMs often talk about the law of attraction and The Secret, along with the books Think and Grow Rich and The Power of Positive Thinking. If they just follow the same steps in those books, they too will see incredible results. But when the consultant doesn't make any money or they make a small amount of it, the blame is placed solely on that consultant and never ever on the flawed business model of the MLM. They're told it was because of their lack of faith, their negative mindset, or their inability to work hard enough. They just didn't want it bad enough. Members of cults and MLMs both experience emotional highs and lows because they are showered with praise one minute and then made to feel guilty and unworthy the next minute. Because most of them have spent a lot of money on products without ever really getting anything in return, they become so desperate that consultants in multiple MLMs have used 9/11 and other tragedies to sell their mediocre products that you can get pretty much anywhere. They're also currently taking advantage of the situation with the Rona. They're secretive about what they're doing and what you will be doing. They don't usually tell you the name of the company during your first few conversations or text messages, so you don't have a clue what they're even recruiting you to do. You know it's a money-making opportunity, but that's all you know. They expect you to be positive constantly. MLM consultants become so committed and obsessed with seeing results that they will continue spending money and time even though it's obvious that their investment isn't going to pay off. And this is called overconfidence. It's when a person believes that their actions are completely correct even when there is proof that their actions are not. Overconfidence has been blamed for the sinking of the Titanic, for the nuclear disaster at Chernobyl, and the loss of the Space Shuttle Challenger. LuLaRoe is a women's clothing MLM, with leggings being their most popular product. According to allegations from former retailers interviewed in LuLaRich, which is a documentary on Amazon, the founders controlled their sellers' lives. They encouraged them to go into debt, and they even pressured them to get weight loss surgery. They wanted their sellers, called fashion consultants, to convince their husbands to quit their jobs and to invest their family's entire financial portfolios into the company. When anyone complained about not making a profit, about a defective product they received, or even their uneasiness with particular aspects of the company, they were called weak and lazy and gaslit into believing that they, not LuLaRoe, were the cause of all of the problems that they faced. If consultants wanted to leave the company, they were often forced to take a multi-$1,000 loss, and if they did walk away, the founders forbade their consultants from talking to them. LuLaRoe functioned less like a company and more like a cult, and they are still in business. Cult leaders will often get involved in an MLM because they'll have an instant downline of distributors without having to go outside of the group to recruit. Keith Raniere was the founder of NXIVM, an MLM based in New York. He used to be an Amway distributor, which is a very well-known and very infamous MLM. He eventually created his own MLM called Consumers Byline, but it was shut down because it was accused of being a pyramid scheme. The women that he recruited in Consumers Byline became more than just distributors. They were like his slaves. He learned the power of persuasion and manipulation for being at the top of an MLM, and he transformed it from an MLM into a cult. He told the women in his inner circle that they had been high-ranking Nazis in their former lives, and that sleeping with him was a way to shift the residual bad energy that was still in their systems, and they had to show their obedience to him by having his initials branded down below, and by handing over compromising personal information or nude photos as collateral that he would use against them if he felt that he needed to. I've heard some consultants refer to their particular MLM as the vehicle, so that made me think of Marshall Applewhite, the co-founder of Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate was a UFO-based religious cult founded in 1970 that believed they were aliens and their bodies were simply a vehicle. That believed they were aliens and their bodies were simply a vehicle. That believed they were aliens and their bodies were simply a vehicle. And Applewhite said he was the second coming of Jesus Christ, that God was an alien, and that we were living in the end times. The co-founder of Heaven's Gate, Bonnie Nettles, she felt as though she was an outsider, an alien, and she never felt that she fit in, so she was always in a vulnerable mindset. And part of the Heaven's Gate philosophy came from her. Marshall Applewhite later believed a ship of space aliens that he called Luciferians was flying behind the Hale-Bopp comet because in November of 1996, an amateur astronomer in Houston took what's called a CCD image of the comet, and it showed a fuzzy, slightly elongated object behind the comet. He didn't have the correct computer program to identify what was actually a star behind the comet, so he believed that it was a spaceship. So he called Art Bell's radio show at Coast to Coast AM, believing that he discovered a Saturn-like object following Hale-Bopp. The news spread, and the rest is history. And Coast to Coast AM is a radio show that covers a lot of different things, but mainly the paranormal and the unexplained. The members of Heaven's Gate had been in isolation for more than 20 years, and to prepare themselves for entry into the kingdom of heaven, or what they called the level above human, they had to abandon their families, change their names, dress in a particular way, have their hair cut a particular way, and many of the men were voluntarily surgically castrated. Occasionally, some members were allowed to bend the rules and see or talk to their family, but that wasn't common. On March 22, 1997, they released a press release on their website that said, "By the time you receive this, we'll be gone. Several dozen of us. We came from the level above human in distant space, and we have now exited the bodies that we were wearing for our earthly task to return to the world from whence we came." The Heaven's Gate website is still up, and it's ran by current members that claim they stay in touch with the 39 members that passed away. And I'll probably do a video on Heaven's Gate, so I'll go into more detail about it then. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you really soon.